Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Josh Dragon here, and today we're going to be starting with a new adventure made by Rare in 1991. Can you guys guess which game this is? That's right, it's Battletoads for the NES. Battletoads is considered by most people to be one of the most difficult NES games of all time. It's pretty much the way I feel too. It's a very difficult game, requires a lot of memorizing and good reflexes. I actually first played this when I was about 9 years old. One of my best friends lent it to me, and I wasn't sure what it would be like. I was expecting it would be similar maybe to the Ninja Turtles because it seemed to look a lot like the Ninja Turtles based on the artwork, just with toads instead of turtles, but it's actually very different from that. It's a platformer, beat 'em up, side scroller. It basically has all these different types of genres combined into one, and it's extremely difficult, which makes it very unusual and also interesting. I always found it a little disappointing though that you can't play as Pimple, but I don't know that matters really that much in this game. Toads are all kind of the same. So those are the three bosses of the game: Robo-Manus, Big Blag, and of course the Dark Queen. The Dark Queen will be taunting us every time we finish a level or start on a new one. So for this first level, you can actually skip right to level 3 right away. There's a warp up there, but I won't be using those during this playthrough. I'm going to be avoiding that. I use the ram horn attack to get some extra points when I need to. It's really helpful to get points in this game because you get an extra life for every 100,000 points that you get. So these psycho pigs, or whatever they're called, they can be killed pretty quickly with the ram horn attack, but they're very aggressive by nature and they tend to hit you pretty hard with those axes, so I'd recommend just getting them off the screen very fast. This is a cool little Easter egg that the programmers left in the game. You can ride around in this dragon and it spits out fire. It's useful for getting rid of the pigs, but it's not very important, and we'll only be using it for a little while here. They actually don't appear again in the game. So this is the first boss. It's going to shoot out these balls, which you'll need to throw back into its field of vision. Kind of creative in that way. It gives you almost like a semi-3D appearance, but it's a pretty easy boss. I actually just got shot there at the end, which is funny. I normally will jump down the hole, which will take a life off, but it doesn't count against you. It's just a fun thing to do. And just like that, we've beaten the first level. We're going to be moving on to level 2, which is Wookie Hole. This level is significantly more difficult than the first one, but it's definitely a walk in the park by comparison with what's to come. This is also a really good opportunity to stack up on some extra lives by knocking these birds against the wall repeatedly. If you can get it to a certain number, I'm not sure exactly how many, but if you knock them against the wall enough, they'll give you an extra life. And best of all, it won't count against your score counter because you could actually tap out with 999,999 points. So if you can pick up an extra life without it being added to your score counter, that's always a really good thing. Also, if you hit those birds up too high, they will be off the screen and they won't come back down, so I had that happen a couple of times here, unfortunately. These electrical cameras, or whatever they are kind of annoying the first few times you fight them. Just turn the toads into the wrecking ball by moving against the side of the screen and then just take them out that way. It's the easier way to beat them. So even though I haven't managed to get an extra life from fighting the birds, I'm still picking the extra lives up by getting my score counter to go up above 100,000. These birds with the sharp beaks are very dangerous because if they get anywhere near your rope, they're going to cause it to break, so take them out very quickly. They're actually the most threatening enemy in this level. I got a little bit low on health here, so I had to be very careful with not getting hit again. That kind of prevented me from going after getting an extra life from the birds. And just use the wrecking ball to take out the Venus flytraps. Okay, so I'll ask you guys, if you played Battletoads back in the day, how far were you able to make it? I'm gonna guess most people probably couldn't get past the turbo tunnel. And that's actually where I was. I couldn't get past that for a long period of time. That's a very difficult thing to avoid. There's a series of these lightning magnet things, or whatever they are, and they move across the screen very quickly, and they're close together, so you really need to get to the other side of the screen as quickly as possible to avoid them. Now we're going to be moving on to the infamous level, the turbo tunnels. This is the level that most people probably can't beat, or at least get stuck on first. These three guys will take a few pellets of life off, but they're really the least of your problems getting through this level. This whole part in the intro is actually very easy. Looks like there's a brain or something growing back there. I always wondered like what that was. I would almost say that the toads are in some kind of an intestinal, area or something like that. Like they're in something that's like living or something. It's really kind of disgusting looking when you think about it. So now we're going through the part with the speed bikes, which is the real test of the level. The first part is pretty simple. We're just going to be avoiding a bunch of these single platforms that'll alternate in an up-down pattern. Nothing too difficult here. Now we'll have a couple of these wider ones that we'll have to jump over. Sometimes when you have a bunch of those in sequence, I always find that to be a little bit more difficult to time the jumps over those platforms. It helps to take a smaller jump as opposed to a bigger jump when you're dealing with the wider platforms, because you never know if there's going to be a bunch of them following the one. Now we have two sets of 4 platforms. That one I didn't jump quite right on, so I died. Had a shorter jump that time, so it was fine. This part's actually pretty easy as long as you follow where the shadows are on the rat rockets. You'll know where they're going to drop their single platform, and you can just move away from it. And then there's only one wide one that you'll need to jump over during that section. And then just move out of the way after you jump over this single wide platform, and you'll be fine. This is another fairly easy part. You just want to wait until the first rocket, or the second rocket actually, moves all the way up to the top of the screen. And then jump to the side of the screen, and then move back down slowly. Now this is the last difficult part because these platforms come very quickly. You need to stay in the middle of the screen, and you need to avoid them by moving up, down, in a very quick, rhythmic type of pattern. You'll have 3 wide platforms to jump over after that, and then that's it. We have just beaten the turbo tunnels. Okay guys, I want to thank you so much for watching my LP run of Battletoads for the NES, and in the next part we will be moving on with the Arctic Caverns. I'll see you guys next time. This is Josh Dragon signing out.